Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Jerusalem Press Club second webinar in our special series on climate change innovation. My name is Talia Dekel, CEO of JPC, Israel's press club and home for international journalists. There are over 230 energy tech companies in Israel. Today's discussion will focus on some of the groundbreaking advancements in this key sector, where local entrepreneurs and scientists are driving solutions towards global change, climate change mitigation, and sustainability. We will hear from 4 incredible experts in the energy sphere about their efforts and have the chance to ask them about the impact of their work and next steps. This conversation is being recorded, so if you didn't get the chance to send questions in advance, please type them in the chat box and we'll get to them time permitting. Our first speakers are from Ignite the Spark, a 4,500 strong community focusing on renewable energy sources with an emphasis on conventional energy sources, energy efficiency and smart loads, hydrogen, and T&D advanced technologies. Sean Dana, Ignite the Spark CEO, will explain what this all means in layman's terms, please. And then we will hear from Ronnie El-Halal Givon, founder and director of Women in Energy, home to 400 women professionals working in the Israeli energy tech ecosystem in public and private sectors. Before Sean begins, I'll just point out that he'll have to duck out a little bit early. So any questions that you might have for him can be directed to Ronnie, to Ronnie, after everyone has had the chance to present. So go ahead, guys.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. And thank you, Talia, Matthias, and Laura, and the team for making this happen. My name is Sean Dana. I'm the CEO of Ignite the Spark. Ignite the Spark is the energy tech community of Israel. And we are a non-profit organization with a clear goal. Can you see the screen properly? Great. So I'm the CEO of Energy Spark, the non-profit organization dedicated to promote energy tech in Israel. You're probably asking, what is the ecosystem? What is energy tech for people that are less familiar with that? And you might facing a big obstacle, a big giant mountain that you're facing and want to try to understand to get the big overview. So it might be entrepreneur, might be reporter, might be investors, and you can name who can be this person that try to climb this ladder. Ignite the Spark is basically the jetpack that you put on your back and try to get connection with all the rest of the entities you might be visionate in the energy ecosystem. It can be entrepreneurs, it can be investors, academia, funds, governmental entities, all that help to create a better engagement with a different and some say a traditional ecosystem. Ignite the Spark has evolved 4.5 years ago as a grassroots community for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs, with a clear vision to make an easier and engaged ecosystem that will help to create more energy tech entrepreneurs and ventures, while still being the vibrant hub that can connect everybody together. Today, I'm proud to say we gather more than 4,500 individuals in the ecosystems with specific pillars from the academia, women energy, and the industry, all to create more opportunities and get a better establishment of the energy sector locally and globally. Basically, what we do is working with really early stage entrepreneurs, developing and working with some workshops. One of our prominent workshops that we do called Energypreneur of Tomorrow that help to create the next generation of energy tech entrepreneurs in person, online, and in the field workshop that help to create with all the leaders of the industry the next generation that will lead the ventures that you will see very soon. Following that lead, we have Energy Ideation, a workshop for more mature entrepreneurs with a valid idea that help to create them a mirroring boost to the change that will create a better facilitation and better opportunities that can be from fund opportunities and also meeting an extra co-founder and team members. Once in a year, we're doing a Changemakers event, which we're revealing what you probably saw recently, the Energytech ecosystem map. As Talia mentioned before, there are 230 companies in the Energytech ecosystem. On this map, you would see 140 companies. Those companies are mature enough that get any fund. It can work with few entities around the globe. We're working around all the sectors of energy. So from generation, transmission, distribution, until behind the meters, storage is part of renewables and the future, and of course, hydrogen, waste to energy, and carbon capture. This year, we released 2 pages map that you will see the maturity of some more companies that have post IPOs, and you can see how the mixtures of the companies and what kind of companies you will see here. It's important to mention that those companies that you will see here, the logos, they are interactive, so you can press for each one of those logos and learn more. Because we don't have a lot of time and I can't elaborate for all of the companies. You might get to know them better when you go there. To complete the cycles of develop more energy tech entrepreneurs and ventures, once in a year we're doing annual investors events. Normally we do it with our crowd summit. This year we had 28 partners, 400 people in person, 12 different country representatives. Definitely we see more interest and a lot of engagement that comes globally to what is going on over here. We are creating very soon Spark initiative that will help for the startup and the stakeholders to create pilot together. You can check more info in our website. A delegation to Texas to create more opportunities globally, and all to be very easy to connect with all the global industry. The events and the community visit help to everybody in the local ecosystem to be more close and understand how they can work together. And as we know, academia, this is definitely the catalyst for the next generation of energy tech ventures, as well as I was started from there. So this is a pillar that we are focused on with 8 academic cells, from students to researchers. I know we have a limited time over here, so to continue and elaborate more about women energy, I'll let Ronnie speak further, the most vibrant community that we have probably around here.
Thank you, Sean. Hello, everyone. My name is Roni. I'm an environmental engineer with master's degree in energy management and policy and an MBA specializing in innovation and entrepreneurship. 3 years ago, I founded the Women in Energy community in Israel. Today, we have over 400 community members. And for our event, even more women come. Our community members come from the entire ecosystem, studying governmental offices such as Ministry of Energy, Environmental Protection, Innovation Authority, researchers from the academia, both governmental and private energy companies, startups, entrepreneurs, consultants, and more. I'm very proud to say that since last year, we are supported by the Ministry of Energy through the Chief Scientist Office, and we have a close relationship with the Ministry's management. Now, when I come to think about the work plan for women in energy, or how to promote women in the energy ecosystem, I actually think about 3 things. The first one, how to bring more women to the energy ecosystem. The second one is how to make them stay and come for a career and not just a short term. And the third one is to build a work plan that will have diverse activities for all of the spectrum of seniorities. So, for example, on the one hand, I lecture about energy innovation and challenges in high school to teenage girls, but on the other hand, I also about to launch after the Israeli holidays the first board of director course dedicated to women and energy. So I'll give you just a glimpse about our event. Sean, can you take it back 2 slides? Another one, back. So here, for example, you can see we had a meeting in one of the leading news channels in Israel to promote the exposure of women experts in the ecosystem and in the media. And the next slide. And on the top, on the right picture, you can see we had an event of roundtables between students and fresh graduates with leading women from the ecosystem, where they can hear about their job opportunities in the energy ecosystem. And actually, even several graduates were recruited by those women during the event. And we have a mentoring program. It's an international mentoring program, and it's not just the mentoring itself, it's the opportunity for women for international collaborations that we look for. And on the bottom, the left picture, we had a meeting with the former Minister of Energy. She was actually a woman, so it was very impressive. And now the next slide. And this is my vision. This is what I am looking for. Just let's make it 50. Thank you very much. Back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Ronnie. I will just like to really quick sum up. As you can see, this is very broad, very taking a lot of aspects, online, offline, on the fields, in classes, emphasize women empowerment, academia and industry, and all to empower the next generation of energy tech ventures and to get more energy tech entrepreneurs in this industry. So what you see over here, very broad, we try and get also to dream about something that will be a little bit more big and create energy and climate innovation center. So if we go moonshot as a technology, we also like to go moonshot to create a house and hub that will be connect all physically as well. Just to sum up, you probably get to understand, get to feel how hot it is outside. And every month we're breaking the temperature records. Energy is definitely the sector to tackle when you're speaking about climate change. So I know there is like a lot of voices around the globe over here. So the ball is in our hand. I believe that each one of us can make the change. Just want to thank you all and make the change from your side. Back to you, Talia.
Thank you, Sean, very, very, very much. And also to Ronnie. The last picture is very strong, and I think will stay in our minds for quite a while. And you're right that the heat is something we all feel from webinar to webinar. We're feeling it more and more. So thank you to you both. We'll do questions a little bit later, and I'm just reminding everyone that you can write them in the chat. Our third speaker at this point is Dr. Ofira Melamed, co-founder and CEO of NitroFix, that produces affordable green ammonia with zero emissions by using water and air as primary sources. So Ofira, please, can you explain what it is you're trying to achieve and how your product has fared so far?
Yes, thank you. So I'll share my presentation, so 1 minute. Can you see it in a big screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, so I have only 5 minutes, so I'll try to answer all the questions. First of all, thank you for inviting me. And just one word about the Women in Energy and Ronnie. So I know Ronnie for a year now, and I think it's an amazing, and I encourage whoever is on the line to join either Women in Energy or Ignite Spark. So a few words about NitroFix first. First of all, we are a startup established a year ago in August. So we are 1 year old, so just a baby, and we are celebrating our 1 year birthday. And we were lucky to finalize our seed round. So we got $3.1 million. And what was more amazing is that week afterward, we won the Israeli Climate Award, that competition that was held by Kalkalist and Doral, which are the leading in energy in Israel. So if you ask yourself why ammonia and why it is so attractive to so many people around the world, and of course our investors, The reason is that ammonia is almost everywhere when we look around. So mainly nowadays, ammonia is being used as fertilizers in agriculture. But this is the known and the current market. But there's a whole new market that ammonia can be used as a green energy source. Ammonia can be used either as a carrier for hydrogen fuel or can really be used as a maritime fuel directly within the vessels that are traveling around the world to use ammonia instead of the current fossil gas. And the idea is that since those maritime are emitting around 1,000 million tons of carbon emissions a year, it must be replaced, and a lot of work has been done all around the world to replace those fuels. So why is ammonia so great for energy? So ammonia holds 9 times more better than lithium-ion batteries. It has 1.8 times better energy density versus hydrogen. It is less flammable, and it can be transported quite easily compared to hydrogen. And more than this, it requires less energy to compress ammonia to the tank where you move ammonia from one place to a second place. Therefore, it is favorable to use ammonia as a storage. Of course, to use ammonia as a fuel itself, you need new engines, and the DVB and the maritime world are working for new engines, and Mitsubishi to use ammonia as a fuel. So what is the problem? Because nowadays they are producing ammonia. So the current production method is the known Haber-Bosch method. This method includes 2 steps. The first step is production of hydrogen from fossil gas. These steps emits huge quantities of CO2. And the second step is the reaction of hydrogen and nitrogen that is coming from air. This step requires high temperature and high pressure, which involves high capex that is required for this reaction. So for any tons of ammonia that is being produced via the Haber-Bosch method, 2.5 tons of CO2 are being emitted. So basically, we are producing more CO2 than ammonia. But since the world cannot stand without ammonia, so this is the way they are doing it now. So we are coming with a totally revolutionary and disruptive technology. And the technology came from the Weizmann Institute, from Professor Ronnie Newman, which he has a patent on it, and we have a license, exclusive license to use. The idea is to use just water and air to take them from, atmosphere, to use electrochemical cells, electrolyzers, something very similar to the hydrogen electrolyzers that are already out there, with our proprietary knowledge that is within this electrochemical cell, and of course with renewable energy, and we are able to produce ammonia without emissions of CO2. So it is 0 emissions of CO2. The reagent to the reaction are low cost, it's just water and air, and of course this electrochemical cell, which is the proprietary of the technology. What is more disruptive with this technology that it can be decentralized, and basically it can be located almost any place around the world near renewable energy source. And this makes it even more appealing to our customers, because they don't need the transportation of the ammonia from the very remote places that currently ammonia is being produced. This is our first system that we've got into the lab. So basically the electrochemical cell is here. So it's a stack of few cells stuck together and producing ammonia. So we are collecting the ammonia in one of those bottles. So ammonia is formed as a gas form, but we bubble it into water to collect it as the solution in water. Our aim is, this is an illustration, and to finalize with something that looks something like this. This is the electrolyzers where we are going to produce the ammonia using renewable energy, and we can collect the gas ammonia that was formed in this reaction. So 0 carbon emissions, and that's it. So this is the team, Professor Ronnie Newman from the Weizmann Institute. This is me, Meital, our CTO, Tal, Natalie, and Irena, which is in the picture. All of us are PhD in doctors. I'm the only one not in electrochemistry, in polymers, but all of them are electrochemical. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ophira. We'll get to the questions in just a minute. Very impressive. Our final speaker is Daniel Gimpel, co-founder of MADA Analytics, that has developed applications for liquid air energy storage to improve efficiency and enhance operations of natural gas power plants, as well as liquefied natural gas production and regasification. Daniel, could you please elaborate on these processes and what you've been able to do so far?
Sure. Is everyone able to see the screen? I'll just try to move it into full screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, great. Our company, very much a startup, but we're really trying to aspire to address two major challenges in the energy transition to net zero. One is enhancing and enabling more renewables with long duration storage, but also to provide the backup capacity. The dynamic that's happening in the market, this is really the problem that we're aiming to address, is that to get to net zero, the amount of renewables that will have to be increased on the grid in the US will go from 165 gigawatts to nearly 3,000 gigawatts. But the real squeeze is the dispatchable power plants. The coal and gas power plants are being retired. And by 2050, there'll be approximately 500 gigawatts planned to be in operation, which means that the overbuild of renewables will make energy so expensive without being able to deliver it when it's needed, when there's peak demand. This here are really just the indicative facts of that currently today in the United States, peak demand in 2020 was 500 gigawatts. Here, as you can see in the left-hand corner, with providing 500 gigawatts, delivering 40 to 70% of renewables would cost over $700 billion of generation. But in getting to a stage of nearly 100% renewables, the amount of energy and capital that would have to be invested makes all of it prohibitive. But this to the right is really the problem, that even if you're at 99.9% renewable energy, all from wind, solar, hydro, and everything, you still need 55% of your total capacity of 500 gigawatts from fossil fuel. You'll have gaps in the year that batteries and other storage makes the energy still uneconomic and deliverable, where you have storage requirements past 4 hours, where it's 6 or 3 days or a week or 2 weeks of time. So fossil fuel generation is going to be required. And that's really where the CO2 emissions are challenged. So our goal in what we've designed in long duration storage is really to tackle how to eliminate CO2 emissions from gas-fired power plants, and at the same time deliver long duration storage, which is economic. And the patents that we've had approved over the last year in the United States, about 8 patents, revolve around this system of liquefying air. I'll just run the video so you can see what the process is like and understand exactly what happens.
The utility dispatcher signals a request to store electrical load. Facility managers leverage the platform to run complex algorithms and analytics, optimizing and processing energy used. First, they activate the liquid air energy storage process by sending incoming electricity to the air compressor. Waste heat from the compressor's exhaust is stored in heat storage tanks for later use. The compressed air travels to an air separation unit and is then piped into deep cooling cold storage. Flowing through the cold storage unit, the air is gradually condensed into liquid at minus 190 degrees Celsius and stored in large insulated industrial non-pressurized liquid air storage tanks. When the dispatcher requests electricity generation, the control center reverses the flow. A liquid air pump moves the liquid air through piping. It's warmed and expanded back into a gas. As it's expanded and evaporates, the air is superheated, utilizing the hot air previously stored during compression. The air exits as high-temperature, high-pressure gas, driving the turbine, generating power that is fed back over transmission lines into the grid.
Okay, that's essentially the process that we we leverage. It's a very known form of engineering. It's utilized in liquid natural gas. It's utilized in liquefying nitrogen, and many similar to the process that you would liquefy ammonia. The compressors and the liquefaction equipment is very commercial. So we're not stuck at very, very challenging stages of bringing the technology and engineering from lab to commercial scale. What we've done, though, is that in utilizing liquid air, the energy density is much better than compressed air, and the cold from the minus 90 degrees Celsius impacts the actual gas generation. This schematic is a design that we've already issued a patent on for extraction of CO2 from gas engines. The center gray box is a gas engine. The white boxes in the lower are the compressor and liquefaction, where the tank is storing the liquid air. When the liquid air is pumped out, it's run through heat exchangers that absorb the heat from the exhaust of the gas. The unique application of the cold is that carbon dioxide freezes at a liquid form or dry ice at minus 60 degrees Celsius, where the liquid air is actually liquefied at 190. So as the liquid air is expanding back into heated temperature, it's going from 190 down to 60. We're able to extract CO2 from the exhaust of the gas plant and then allow the rest of the air to exhaust out as clean exhaust. And the air pressure, which is heated from the liquid air, is funneled into a low pressure and high pressure air expander, and then into an electrical generator. So the core of what we've done in integrating liquid air is that not only is it proven engineering and known equipment to large scale energy projects, in addition, the complementary benefit of the cold temperatures, which gain from the waste heat of the gas turbine, the cold temperatures also extract the CO2 from the exhaust of the gas engine or gas turbine. And so it enables really clean gas generation. And the natural transition from natural gas burning to hydrogen will still be with the same equipment. And the cold air is able to enable the equipment to run as well, more effectively and efficiently, even when burning hydrogen, if it's to burn hydrogen in the future. So that's the short on our 5-minute presentation, and I'll be happy to take any questions afterwards. And just as another comment, we also have benefited very much from Ignite the Spark, and call out to Sean, as we also participated in the Energy All-Stars and are happy to be part of the ecosystem. And thank you, Talia, for inviting us.
Thank you so much, Danny. Really learning a lot. So first of all, I want to remind everyone that you can send in questions through the chat box, and I'll start the list so far. I'm combining a few questions just for time's sake. I think this might be directed more at Ophira. Danny, you started to answer this a little bit in what you were saying, but if maybe you can provide some figures for anticipated production and scalability of your solutions. And then the other half of that question is, are you worried that we're running out of time on a global level? And of course, you can connect this to whether or not you're able to, to get the resources that you need and so forth.
Okay, so yes, we are running out of time, but I'm very optimistic from my nature. And I just heard a podcast saying that any time that humanity faced like a wall, we found a way to overcome it. So it was not doing like slowly changes, but coming with totally disruptive and new technology. So yes, I'm optimistic that we will be able to solve and tackle most of the challenges, and we'll find solution for climate change. And regarding our solution, yes, I would wish that we would do things a bit faster, but we are only 1 year, and it took us some time to get all the fund that is needed. By the end of 2024, we are going to have this lab prototype working well and producing up to 10 kilos a year, like small quantities, but demonstrating the technology. And by the end of 2026, we would have our first prototype, a bigger system that produces up to 200 tons a year. Still, it's considered to be low consumption and low productivity. And then by 2030, we will be able to produce larger quantities. But since our solution is decentralized option, then we can have those small facilities that produces up to 150, 200 tons, but many of them near the location where they are needed. So we believe that we would still be attractive.
Okay, Danny, do you want to add on to?
What I can just mention, we have an advantage. I mean, definitely there's time that's at stake, and you know, technologies need to get in the very conservative utility world. Many startups like us, it's very hard to get comfort at scale. There's so many hundreds of millions of dollars and tens of millions of dollars at stake. You're dealing with equipment that's not been used in the same ways. We have a slight advantage in that the equipment that we are working with in the configurations that we've designed around our patents are actually known equipment. So being able to price what a system will cost for us is relatively accurate. It's very hard to know what the capex would be for many companies when you go from sample sized equipment to large scale. You have to often imagine what the large scale would look like, who's manufacturing it. So we've completed one of our pilot proposals to the Chevrat Chashmal here in Israel, and of course that was one of their major concerns. So I can show you that in terms of, just for the audience, if they're interested, it was asked that in terms of capex, comparing a LACE system, a liquid air energy storage system, when integrated at these sizes of 5 megawatts, 25 megawatts, or 100 megawatts, your comparable would have to be a battery, and as well incorporating what would be called a gas turbine to be able to provide backup and the battery, and essentially on a cost-based comparison on standalone systems such as these, 5, 25, and 100 megawatts, were less than a third of the large-scale capital costs. But even at small scale, it's very, very beneficial. And at long duration, which the Chevrat Chashmal here in Israel, the electric company, was looking for all sorts of solutions for providing over 5, 10, 20 hours of storage, it's completely out of the park. In terms of what you would have to do with new type batteries, getting them at nearly $4 billion for 45 hours, where the equipment that would achieve the same performance would be at nearly $500 million. So it's large scale numbers that you can quantify and you can understand, at least with solutions that are commercial and known. So if that answers the question, that's what our costs would look like.
Okay, thanks. Ronnie, do you have any indication whether the majority of the companies within your community specifically are more or less at similar stages in terms of scalability, or is this just a whole scale of scalability?
You asked for the ecosystem map?
In terms of all the companies that are under your umbrella organization, can you give like a rough estimate of what we're looking at in terms of,
Wow. There's a variety of what's called TRLs, the maturity level of the startups. And in Ignite the Spark, we are dealing from small startups and even entrepreneur or commercializations of academic knowledge, like Ophira did, for example, in her first steps. And we also work with the large corporation in Israel and the large energy companies. And actually, the secret is, I think Danny said it, that is to bring the young entrepreneurs or the young startups to work together with the large energy companies or with the corporates. And that is one of the things that we do in Ignite. So in the ecosystem map, for example, you can see startups from very different TRLs or maturity levels, some of them in the R&D stage, and some of them have also products. And we also work with corporations and the largest energy companies, not just in Israel, also abroad.
So that actually brings me to another question that somebody sent in, and also connects to Sean's slide about the program in Texas. We're seeing a lot of cooperation with obviously Israeli companies and others around the world, but if we can maybe zoom back into the region, is it your experience, and I think any one of you can answer this, your experience that that this field specifically can act as a kind of, you know, an area of regional cooperation, such as other areas in climate tech? If it's, you know, if it's water or agriculture, is energy one of these fields?
Yes. First of all, climate, you know, it's a global problem, not just in Israel. So we have to work together. Also, for startup, for example, Israel is a very small market. So we do help them to get international collaborations globally to the entire ecosystem. And that is one of the things that Sean and I do regularly.
Danny, Ophira, do you also have any kind of regional partnerships that you can share?
So
Yeah, I think, I'm sorry, go ahead. Ophira, go ahead.
So just looking at my investors that are coming from all around the world, so it's North America, England, Morocco, Israel. So as you can understand, the interest that ammonia is taking, and just in, you know, we moved to our offices on May this year, and today we had visitors from United States. Last week we had from China, and the week before we had from Japan. So yes, of course, I think this is a global problem, or a challenge, if we can call it like this. And there are so many options to work together. And I do believe that this is what we are going to do. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, you know, there are many areas in climate tech, from agriculture to waste, you know, recycling. In the world of energy, it's critical that you have partners, because large energy companies only work with what they can be certain. And that has to be on the engineering side and on the equipment side. So we do have local partners. We have local partners in Europe, in the US, that we've worked with on the engineering side, such as Halliburton and RENA. RENA is in Italy, in Genoa, Italy. And Siemens Energy, we finished our first POC project with a gas plant with Siemens Energy, which would be a very core equipment provider to our systems, and that's just natural. It's not similar to other high-tech industries such as cyber or fintech, that a company can, you know, branch out on its own and build virtual, you know, customer base. In this kind of B2B world of energy, you have all sorts of partnerships, collaborations, and credibility that has to be done to actually get into the market. It's a real challenge, but it's critical. So we definitely leverage all the partnerships that we can, and where we find you know beneficial added value to each other.
Okay, this one question came in the context of recent debates about global food security and sustainable agriculture. How might the production of green ammonia influence the use of fertilizers and their impact on the environment?
So this is a great question, because I didn't talk about fertilizer at all, because this is energy section. But fertilizers is, of course, ammonia. 80% of the current production of ammonia goes to fertilizers. And at least 4 times I've been approached from Africa to purchase a system that produces ammonia. And they would like to use it in Africa for food security, because nowadays, in some cases, they had no ammonia supply to Africa or to specific places around the world, remote places, so no ammonia supply. So once enabling them to produce their own needs of ammonia to be used as fertilizers, this, of course, gives them a lot of food security. So this is a great opportunity. And this is mainly for Africa, for South America. So for those remote places that sometimes we forget that they are there in this planet, our planet. Just a small remark, not every place around the world are using ammonia as fertilizers directly. For example, in Europe, they are not using ammonia, they are using substitute of ammonia. So ammonia is a raw material for example, urea, ammonium nitrate, or ammonium phosphate. So they are not using directly ammonia. So for this market, it is less important to have a system like us. But as I said, Canada and North America and South America and Africa are using ammonia.
Okay, this may have been addressed in other ways, but we'll ask anyway. With the growing emphasis on energy efficiency, what innovative strategies or technologies is Israel adopting to optimize energy consumption and reduce waste? Anyone, I think, can grab this one.
I don't mind speaking about it. I mean, maybe Roni also would like. In general, Israel is very has lagged behind in terms of clean renewable energy adoption for a lot of reasons. You know, I'm sure one, conservative country, you want to make sure you have electricity, you know, security concerns, but the adoption in Israel is relative to Europe and the US slow. The innovation is incredible, and the passion and desire of innovation and thought out of academia and startups is a nice synergy in ideals of wanting to do good for the world and clean energy and sustainability, and the innovative thinking coming in Israel. So there's a lot of generated ideas, but in terms of policy or adoption in Israel, I think the best initiatives that the country is trying to do is set, you know, CO2 emission reductions by increasing wind and solar. They're trying to do more solar, of course, and they'll put a lot of pressure on it. But the difficult challenge is that there's a lot of natural gas in Israel now, and so they're going to want to use it, and there's more growth in demand in Israel, and not a lot of land. You know, so there's going to be more natural gas and more emissions, but it does express itself in policy, Israel. But yeah, that's what I would say.
How likely though are these policies to actually be implemented in your experience? And are the deadlines that ministries often set for themselves feasible in any way? Are they the right deadlines?
I mean, I think everyone's trying to project out. They're trying to do their planning. You know, Israel's done some steps. They've been very, very conservative. Everything used to be under one regulator. The Israel Electric Company used to regulate and provide grid services and provide electricity. Now they separate. There's a separate regulator, NOGA, and there's the Israel Electric Company. So they're trying to do the plannings for what they would like to achieve and reach. But there's always the factors that are hard to take into account. The fact that there's going to be natural gas, there's going to be cheaper energy, there's going to be more demand and more growth. It takes up more land. With wind, there's not a lot of good wind in Israel. You know, putting solar in the Negev is not ideal because there's not transmission lines. So there's going to be challenges. As much as they might want to put more and more renewables, there's naturally going to be challenges. And are they realistic? I mean, they could theoretically be achieved, but you know, a lot of times you set a goal, everything has to fall in place, you know, exactly right, and usually that doesn't happen.
Kira, do you?
I want to add something, if that's okay. So I think a few years ago, all the world were really going green and climate change and doing all the things that are needed to do so, and putting the money and the budget. But unfortunately, the last 2 years from economical, that you see it all around the world, the challenges that the world is facing. So although they said that they would stand for certain regulation, they backed up. So they delayed now the timing and everything. So because people are less willing to pay the premium price or the extra money that is needed for getting green whatever. So this is just, I think, in a way, and I'm really sad about this, but I think things would be delayed because of the economical situation. things are slowed down and been delayed. So this is my opinion, or this is what I see.
Yeah, and also, like I said, the unexpected, whether it's more growth or difficult to implement renewables, the war in Ukraine impacted the costs of energy in the largest European market in Germany. Germany, Austria, Switzerland, the Dachau region was dependent on the natural gas pipeline from Russia. And they're putting more and more solar and renewables, but they had a balance of natural gas to stabilize things. When natural gas balance fell out the floor, all energy became extremely expensive. So, with doing that with renewables and its expense, like Ophira said, it just adds a higher premium and it becomes difficult. They push dates out even further.
Are these the economic challenges that, can we close the gap, or it's really set back our ability to implement these solutions that you've come up with long term?
I think it depends on the market and on the states, because on the other hand, as we've seen, Joe Biden just put, I think it was $1 million in green solutions and in innovation, and trying to push things move on. So I think it dramatically depends on the economic. So if the economic will be better, so yes, we would be able to catch back the date, the 2050 zero emissions, and by 2030 half of the emissions, but it really depends on the economic situation.
Just before I invite everyone to say a few closing remarks, we have one more question left for Ronnie, who you did such a good job explaining what are the initiatives being done right now to make sure that women are appearing in all levels of the market and the field. In your experience, though, how attractive is this field for young women who need to choose subjects, whether it's in secondary or tertiary education?
I think now
in Israel.
Yes, not just in Israel actually, but I think now it's not just it's more attractive, it's more diverse area, because you don't have to be just, for example, electrical engineer, or you don't have to be just mechanical engineer to work in the energy ecosystem. You actually could be everything. You can be computer engineering, and you don't have to be engineer at all. You can work in planning, or you can work even in marketing, or in very several areas, because all the new companies and all the innovation actually opened really new opportunities, not just for women, but to everybody else. And of course, this also opened also to women. And that's actually what I try to do when I lecture in high schools. I try at least to show young teenagers that energy is very cool, and you can learn and you can choose many subjects in your academic knowledge in order to work in the energy ecosystem. I for myself I am an engineer, but I'm an environmental engineer, and I work with electrical engineer and with chemists and even biologists. So there are many opportunities, especially now, and especially because we have new innovations and new startups and very interesting areas. Take Ophira, for example. She's a chemist, right? I'm lucky to have you here, Ophira. You are all my good examples.
Well, we'll certainly do our best to spread the word. Danny, Ophira, do you have anything else to add before we wrap up?
No, thank you for inviting us, and
thank you very much for the opportunity to present. Thank you very much, Talia.
So thank you to all three of you, and also to Sean, who had to leave. Just before everyone logs off, for your convenience, we're going to pop up a list of key climate events happening in Israel over the next few months, which we strongly suggest attending for those of you in the area. It will be recorded together with the recording of, it will be shared together with the recording of this session via email in the next few days. And if the speakers agree, we'll also hopefully share their presentations with you. The list obviously includes JPC's next climate webinar on October 9th at noon Eastern time, which will showcase a panel of participants from the upcoming Planet Tech World 2023 in Tel Aviv later this month. later in the month, later in October. And that conference will bring together thousands of climate tech leaders from around the globe. So don't forget to mark your calendars. And I'd also like to thank my team, Matthias Sakal and Laura Kam, as well as the Mizrahi Family Charitable Fund for spearheading this initiative. Goodbye for now.